Hello, students. I'm Sam, sir, and we are in the second chapter of history. It's known as the Rise of New Kingdoms. This is the first part of the chapter in order to keep the video short. So, after watching this chapter, please be sure to watch the second part also. The time frame for this chapter is from the year 700 CE to 1200 CE. Now, about the origin of the Rajputs, it was thought that they were the descendants of the Central Asian tribes or they settled in India after the Hun invasion. It is also believed that they belong to the Kshatriya clan, and some Rajputs call themselves as Surya Vanchis, and that is the meaning of it is the descendants of the sun. Some call themselves as Chandra Vanchis. That means the descendants of the moon. There are about 36 Rajput families. Now, out of these, four are important for us. The other Pratihas, the Chauhans. Chauhans are also known as Chahamanas, Solankis, and Pawars. Pawars are also known as Parmars. Now, out of these families of Rajputs, some believe that they are descendants of the Agni or the fire of the temple. So they call themselves like the Agnikul. Some more Rajput clans which are important are the Tomars, Gahadwas, Chandelas, and Rajputs dominated northern India between 750 and 1000 CE. They were all followers of Hinduism. The Tomars founded the city of Delhi. In those times, Delhi was known as Dillika. And this city of Delhi was later controlled by the Chauhans. Now, the most popular Chauhan ruler was Prithviraj Chauhan. He ruled around Delhi and Ajmer, and he was a very powerful ruler. The Solankis of Gujarat were also known as Chalukyas of Gujarat. Siddharaj was the most popular and powerful ruler, and Gujarat was a major trade center. Anhilwada is now known as Anwara, and it is in the Patan district, and that was the one of the largest cities, not only of India but also of the world. Uh, in the year 1000, it was having a population of 1 lakh people, and most of the modern Patan is built on Anhilwada. The Solankis were patrons of art and architecture, and they built magnificent temples. The temple of Dilwara in Mount Abu and the Sun Temple in Modhera, which is in Gujarat, are built by them. Mount Abu is in Rajasthan. Here's a view of the temple of Mount Abu, known as Dilwara Temple, and this is the Sun Temple in Modhera in Gujarat. The Parmars or the Pawars established a kingdom around the region of Malwa. Their capital was Dhar, which is a small town now near Indore. The Raja Bhoj Parmar was the most powerful ruler, and the Nilkanteshwar temple of Udaipur was built by the Parmars. This is Raja Bhoj. This is a statue uh, in Bhopal. If anybody goes there, you can find this statue on the VIP road, situated in the upper lake. This is Nilkanteshwar temple. The Gahadwals, they were ruling around the region of Kannauj, and Raja Jayachandra was the most popular Gahadwal king. In the year 1194 CE, Muhammad Ghori defeated him. The Chandels of Bundelkhand were very powerful rulers, and Kirtivarman was the most powerful Chandel ruler. They had their capital in Khajuraho, and they are known for the temples they built. The Gurjar Pratihas ruled over western India, part of western and central Rajasthan, and part of central India. Their most powerful ruler was Nagbhat the first. The other rulers were Vatsaraja and Bhoja. Now, please understand this, that this Bhoja is not the uh, Parmar Bhoja. Parmar Bhoja was in Bhopal, and this one is different. He is a Gurjar Pratihar. They had the city in Kannauj that Parmar Bhoja had his capital city in Dhar. So bear this in mind. This Raja Bhoj issued silver coins, and he was also known as Adi Varaha because on these coins were the inscription of Varaha, which is an incarnation of Vishnu. Raja Bhoj's successor was his son Mahendra Pal, and the Gurjar Pratihars patronized learning and literature. They had trade relations with Central Asia, and they imported horses from Central Asia and Arabia. Finally, the Gurjar Pratihars were defeated by the Mahmud of Ghazni. The dynasty of Pals was founded by Gopal in 750 CE. Now, very peculiar thing about this ruler Gopal is that he was an elected king, and after him came Dharampal and Devpal. They were also two great Pal rulers. They faced lot of problems and competitions from the Pratihas and the Rashtrakuts. So they couldn't occupy Kannauj. Now, Kannauj was a center which everybody wanted because of its wealth and natural resources, because it was located on the banks of Ganga, and it's on a fertile soil. So Kannauj was everybody's target, but they couldn't occupy Kannauj. But they extended the kingdom to Assam, Odisha, and even some parts of Nepal. They were patrons of Buddhism, and Dharampal founded the Vikramshila University, which is in Bihar. And the Pal dynasty was taken over by the Sain dynasty, and finally, which was defeated by the Delhi Sultanate. These are coins from the reign of Devpal. This is the Vikramshila University in Bihar. The Arabs gave different names to the Rajput. To the Pratihas they call as Al-Jurz. The Palas were Rumi for them, and the Rashtrakutas were the Balhar. The Rashtrakuts came to power in the 8th century CE, and they found the kingdom was founded by Dantidurg or Dantivarman. They ruled for about 200 years, and they dominated the Maharashtra region between 750 and 970 CE. Their capital was a town called Malkhed, which is now near the present Sholapur. Some Rashtrakud rulers were Govinda, Amogvarsha, and Krishna III. Now, this man Amogvarsha was a man who was fond of writing poetry. He used to write poetry in Kannada, and they were great patrons of literature. They were tolerant rulers. The Rashtrakuts were patrons of art, architecture also, in addition to literature. They built the temples of Kailash in Ellora, Elephanta caves near Mumbai. Now, Amok Varsha was a Jain, but he patronized all the religions, and Muslim traders were allowed to trade in his kingdom, and preaching of Islam was also allowed. This is a scene from the Ellora caves. This is the Kailash temple, which is cut into the rocks. Another view of the Kailash temple, but this time from the ground level. This is a view from the Elephanta caves. One has to take a motorboat from Gateway of India in Mumbai. It's worth seeing. Verdant hills if you go during the monsoon time or after the monsoon time, but beware of the monkeys. Now we'll see at some of the other kingdoms of the Deccan region. The Chalukyas of Kalyani. Kalyani is in present day Karnataka state. They were also known as later Chalukyas or the Western Chalukyas. Their important ruler was Vikramank. The Kakatiyas were in the present day Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. The Kakatiya kingdom lay between the Krishna and Godavari rivers, and they ruled from 12th to 13th CE. And the kingdom of Kakatiyas were taken over by the sultans of Delhi in the 14th century. They practiced Shaivism, and they were great patrons of Sanskrit as well as Telugu language. This is a statue from their time. The Yadavs were also ruling in the Deccans. It was founded, the dynasty of the Yadavs was founded by Bilam in the 12th century, and the region between Narmada and Godavari rivers was their area. They were famous for trade, prosperity, and riches. And finally, when the Khiljis came in the 14th century, they took away their kingdom. The Hoysals of Dwara is another dynasty we are studying. Their most powerful king was Vishnuvardhan, and they ruled over the present day Karnataka. Their kingdom was later taken over by the Delhi Sultanate. The kings share their power with Samans, which are the subordinate officers, peasant groups, trade guilds, and Brahmins. Uh, Although the king was powerful, yet he shared his powers with uh, the people he ruled over. This made him very powerful and popular. In this times, the kings of the Hoysal dynasty were also known as Maharaja di Raja, that means the great king, and also Tribhuvan Chakravarti, it means the lord of the three worlds. The kings wielded power and authority on all matters, whether it was civil or military or political, with the help of the Samans, the peasant groups, the trade guilds, and the Brahmins. This is a statue from the Hoysal period. Now we'll look at some struggles and conflicts for control and wealth. Every king wanted to expand his kingdom. And to expand the kingdom, one requires wealth and one requires a good army. And uh, uh, the kingdoms which were non-Rajputs, they were always in tussle with the Rajput kingdoms. And now we are looking at uh, a tripartite struggle. There was a struggle between the Gurjar Pratihars, the Rashtrakoot, and the Pals about one particular kingdom which was the favorite of all, and all eyed that kingdom. I already told you that is the Kanauj. Now, in this map, you can see the extent of the reign of Gurjar Pratihars, which is shown in green color, and the Pals, which is shown in the purple color, and the Rashtrakuts in orange color, and they were all after the city of Kannauj. King Jayachandra was the ruler of Kannauj, and they wanted the resources of Kannauj, and they wanted to control the wealth, and they also needed the fertile regions of the Gangetic Valley. This is the reason why these all three big dynasties were wanting to win over Kannauj. See what happened to Kannauj. These rulers were not able to hold Kannauj for a long time. They weakened the kingdom of Kannauj by plundering. This was a Gahadawal dynasty kingdom, as you already know. There was looting and plundering, so Kannauj diminished, it weakened. The Rashtrakutas were later overthrown by the later Chalukyas, and Palas were once under threat from the Cholas, and they were later overthrown by the same dynasty. The Pratihar dynasty broke up completely, and a number of smaller states came into being. If you look at all the three dynasties, Rashtrakuts, Pals, and the Pratihars, there was a lot of infighting among themselves, and that led to no good for either of them. So finally, they were all overthrown, and so was the kingdom of Kannauj. This is the end of part one of the two parts of this chapter. I am Samsher. And I'm not a YouTuber, as you know. I'm a school teacher, and the way this way of teaching has been adopted because of the lockdown time. And in case you feel that you have benefited from this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. See you.